Some more breaking news. This is around the CAG report row that continues to escalate. The Delhi High Court is very miffed with the Delhi government's handling of the CAG report. In fact, what the High Court has said that the timeline is stark, and the High Court coming down very heavily on the Delhi government, saying that they've dragged their feet to avoid the session to happen. This is the reprimand from the High Court to the Delhi government. So just take us through this, Ananya. What exactly is the High Court upset about?
The Delhi High Court is actually hearing a particular petition seeking, in fact, the implementation of the CAG report for a session to be called in as far as the CAG report is concerned. And or a discussion should happen in the assembly when it comes to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India's report on Delhi, which completely goes on to cite how, this whole liquor policy had caused, in fact, 2,826 crores of, losses to the Delhi's revenue. And it was something that was a big blunder carried out by the Delhi government, which comes to fore when this CAG report has actually come out. It also says that, the Delhi's budget is in a large deficit. The Delhi government does not have clear funds, is what this CAG report goes on to say. But today, the matter was before, in fact, the Delhi High Court. The High Court was really irked as to how, the Delhi government has actually handled this particular report, going as far as to say that it is a poor handling, and the timeline raises a doubt on the bona fide of the Delhi government itself. It also goes on to say that, the Delhi government tried to avoid, sending the, made delays in that particular report so that it does not go for a session, and a session could not be called in. And now the situation is such that, a session might not be called up because, a model code of conduct is in place in the national capital, and hence a special session could not be called in. The hearing would resume at 2:30 today, wherein this particular aspect of whether a session can actually be called when the model code of conduct is in place, that would be the question of law that would be discussed at around 2:30
The CAG report also revealed, Ananya, a revenue loss of over 2,000 crore rupees in the Delhi liquor scam. Now, he was acquitted by the Supreme Court in the ED CBI case. So what is it that the High Court now seeks from the Delhi government about the CAG report?
Well, what we have to understand at this particular point of time that Arvind Kejriwal is yet not acquitted. Nobody in this case has been actually acquitted in this particular case. It's just an interim bail that has been granted to, Arvind Kejriwal, that has been converted into a regular bail. That too, because certain questions of law were that the Supreme Court wanted to discuss the pendency of that. He has been granted bail because the trial might take a little time in this particular case. But definitely, no charges have been taken away from, Arvind Kejriwal or any other accused into this particular case. The trial in this case is yet to begin. The arguments in charge in this case are also yet to start. But at the same point of time, the CAG report coming in, what is the interesting fact, Avantika, of this CAG report?
Just kindly stay with me. RP Singh is also joining us right now on the broadcast. And, once again, Ananya, thanks so much for correcting me. They haven't been acquitted. They have been given temporary relief or temporary bail, Arvind Kejriwal, in the ED and the CBI case. Mr. RP Singh, the Delhi High Court has come down very strongly on the Delhi government of sitting on the CAG report that actually goes on to show and reveal how there has been a revenue loss of over 2,000 crore rupees in the Delhi liquor policy scam, and yet it was never even tabled in the Delhi Assembly.
The CAG report indicated that there is a huge loss to the exchequer and at the cost of the Delhi taxpayers' money. And there are reports also that this money was used for elections in Goa. And then there are evidences also on record. So that's why they were not keen to discuss this or table this in the assembly, because they knew the moment they tabled this in the assembly, our leaders in the assembly will raise all these issues in the assembly, how Delhi liquor scam money was used for political objectives. So this is shameful, and this shows, the High Court observation shows that how Delhi government intendingly didn't table the report of the CAG in the Delhi Assembly.
Absolutely. And so why do you think that there has been, an intent not to reveal the findings of the CAG report? What is it that you think that the Delhi government is perhaps hiding or not wanted to come out in public domain, which it already is? Why not discuss it in the Delhi Assembly? Why not bring it out, and why not have all the parties discuss it?
They have called Delhi Assembly session for various frivolous reasons. I mean, like Kashmir file and all of those, but not for the big exposure by the CAG on the Delhi liquor scam. This clearly shows that their intent. I mean, They knew this, that the moment the CAG report is tabled, they will have to face a lot of questions, and they wanted to duck the questions just before the assembly elections. But anyhow, in public domain, in politics, things don't, you can't hide things are wrong. They ultimately come out, the skeletons will fall down from the cupboard. But he has to answer about the 15 crore water purifier which he has installed in the Sheesh Mahal. Poor people don't get water to drink. And then Mr. Kejriwal has installed purifiers worth 15 crore rupees for his Sheesh Mahal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Ananya, just tell us a little bit more about the CAG report and what exactly now is the defense that has been put by the state government after being reprimanded by the Delhi High Court.
Well, definitely, this is just coming. We are still awaiting a response from the Aam Aadmi Party. But before the Delhi High Court, they're saying that they could not have called for a special session since Model Code of Conduct is already underway at this particular point of time. And what is very, very crucial to note is that, and an interesting fact that comes out from what we've gathered from the CAG report is that the Enforcement Directorate's investigation of the revenue loss of the Delhi government quite coincides with, in fact, what has been stated in the CAG report, because almost, the Enforcement Directorate has suggested that 2,836 crores was something that was a revenue loss for, in fact, the Delhi government when it comes to the whole liquor policy. But, the CAG report also cites a similar figure of around 2,326 crores of rupees. So almost a very, very close figures coming in as far as, the revenue loss to the Delhi government is concerned. So definitely this CAG also somewhere or the other coincides with what the Enforcement Directorate had stated in its investigation, and when, the whole of this case would be coming up for a framing of charges, and when the trial in this case would begin, I think the CAG report is something that would be also cited by the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Right. Ananya, just kindly stay on with me. Udit Raj from the Congress Party is also joining us. Udit Raj ji, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. The Delhi High Court has come down very, very strongly and heavily on the Delhi government. In fact, they've pulled up the Delhi government, saying that there has been a deliberate attempt to drag their feet on the CAG report. What do you have to say?
I'm in agreement with the High Court verdict. It's true that they dragged the feet. And what they preached at the initial time, when they were entering the politics, that Jan Lokpal will and all other yardsticks which they laid for the leaders, like leaders should be in one room, there no security should be for the people. So all together they have taken U-turn, and they are liars, and they have swindled thousands of crores. And in liquor case, it's more than 2,000 crore is embezzlement.
In fact, that liquor policy, sir, was marred by deviations and even alleged kickbacks. This report, in fact, even goes on to shed light on glaring lapses, on policy violations. Do you think is that why the Aam Aadmi Party has deferred tabling the CAG report in the Delhi Assembly?
Just to cover up the scam and embezzlement, and that's why they dragged the feet. They did not allow. So what happened? There was enough time to place before the House, but they did not. They did it. They deliberately delayed it. So for that, of course, people must punish them. They are lawyers. They are swindlers.
Right. All right. Mr. Udit Raj, thank you so much for joining us. Ananya, I wanted to ask you now, the High Court's, the High Court pulling up the Delhi government about the CAG report and also saying that they have purposely dragged their feet over the CAG report about the now scrapped liquor policy. How does this impact the case which involves Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and the criminal case that was filed by the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI, for which he was given that temporary relief from the Supreme Court?
What actually coincides at this particular point of time is with regards to, if you go by the Enforcement Directorate's investigation and also by the CAG report side by side, you will see that there's almost a similar figure when it comes to the loss of revenue that's been reported in both of them.